Essential Pilates, August 2020. Start standing in parallel stance, tall and engaged. Taking a breath in, we'll sweep the arms up, rise onto the balls of the feet, and breath out, we release down. Change the arm that goes in front, breath in, rise, and breath out. Again, nice deep breath in. So we want that lateral breath, breathing deep into the back and the sides of the rib cage, filling up the lungs. Little challenge to our balance there. As we rise, one more. We'll hold the arms up on this one, releasing the heels down, arm over arm to climb the rope, taking a lateral stretch underneath the armpit, running through the waist. For 4 more, and 3, last 2, last 1. Release the rope, and then bending the knees and straighten the knees. Keeping the legs in parallel, and we'll take the arm line through our surrender arms. So we'll rotate, palms up and down, up and down. Taking a stretch into the calves. Twice more. Last one. And then laterally rotate, turning out from the hip joint. Bending the knees in lateral rotation. Moving that arm line to external and internal rotations. Pushing through the heels and zipping through the inner thighs as we come back up. Just mobilising into that shoulder joint. We'll make this our last one, and then we'll release. Dynamic side lunge, driving out and in, going to the same side all the time. The further out we step, the harder we'll have to push to get back to centre. So if you're feeling a little bit chilly, please feel free to make that step nice and wide. We're going to hold the next step and add a nice dynamic lateral flexion over and back. And we're lengthening over towards that straight leg. Maintaining the leg that we stepped out in that bent knee position. One more dynamic. Release to centre and then drive out and in opposite way, repeating our dynamic side lunge in the opposite direction. Last 2, staying out on the last one, and then that nice dynamic, again, lateral flexion over and back. You may well feel a little bit of an inner thigh stretch as well here, as you're going over and back with that dynamic lateral stretch. And that will be down the inside of your straight leg. We'll go for 2 more. And last one. Releasing to centre, and then let's bring the legs to parallel. Going into squats, arms floating up and down. Remembering that we're bending at our hip, at our knee and at our ankle. Spine stays in neutral but goes from a vertical neutral to a diagonal line in the neutral. If you've got a bit more range of movement in those shoulder joints, bring them up in line with the ears. On this one we'll stay down, and I'd like you to rise and lower. Coming up onto the balls of the feet, just warming up the feet themselves, challenging your balance. Now if you do find that this is a bit much for the knees, you can do 1 foot at a time to rise and lower. We'll make these our last 2, finishing with the last one, and then we'll drive up to standing. Working on our rotation next, and would like you to imagine that you're picking cherries. So point the toe on one side, take the arm out on the opposite side, reach and place your cherry in your imaginary basket. So you can really challenge your balance here by taking your foot completely off the mat. Even further, you can rise onto the ball of that foot. If you're not feeling too hot on balance, keep the toe on the floor. Just take a nice rotation out and back. Twice more. And last one. Let's reverse that, set up for picking cherries on the opposite side. Reach and place. So the easiest level, keep your toe on the floor. Challenge your balance, take the toe off. And challenging balance even further, take the toe off. Rise onto the ball of the foot. Twice more in this direction. Wonderful. We'll challenge our balance with foot pedal to knee lift, so keeping our pelvis neutral. We'll bring it up into our knee lift, bring the arms into arm float. Now, whichever is the knee that you've lifted, if you rotate towards it with a bow and arrow arm, come back to centre and release down. And then do the same thing, opposite way. Foot pedal to knee, rotate, return and release. Pelvis staying nice and level as we float up with that foot pedal into the knee lift. Making sure that you're not hitching the hip up to get the leg into the air like so. So we don't want to see any hitching of that hip up. Using the muscles at the front of the thigh, picking the leg up. We'll go for one more on each side. And then after we finish this final one, we'll stretch our spine with partial roll down, which you can either do from a standing or a kneeling position. Keeping the pelvis still in space. We'll flex the spine from the top towards the bottom, curving into the upper, the mid, the lower back. As we take a deep stretch, and then rebuild, realign. Again, gently unstucking, pain-free range of movement only. Occasionally, if you have been managing sciatic nerve pain caused from a slipped disc, then this can irritate it. If that is the case, pain-free range only, even if that just means you're moving your neck, that's fine. Okay, we're going to work on chin retractions, pulling the head back and poking the chin forwards. So from a side view, in terms of our posture, we should have a straight line, ear, centre of the shoulder joint, centre of the hip joint, knee, and then just in front of the ankle bone. And our chin retraction pulls our head back into line with our shoulder, for those of us who have a slightly forwards head position. Making this our last one. We'll follow that with coming to kneeling for our kneeling hinge. Now, if you find that your knees do not like this movement, you can do a seated hinge instead. So we're aiming to keep a straight line from the knee, through the pelvis to the shoulder, and to the ear as well as you lean back. If you find that this doesn't work for you, I'll demonstrate the seated position. Okay, place your fingers on your forehead, hinge and release. You'll find that this will take any pressure off the knee and off the front of the thighs, taking it all into the abdominals, into the back, as we practice that movement. Our aim will be for 2 more. And then when we have finished our last one, let's take the spine through flexion extension with our cat stretch. Set up in full point kneeling, knees underneath the hips, hands underneath the shoulders. Tuck the tail between the legs, round the back and scoop the chin towards the chest to flex the spine. Push your bottom up into the air. Allow the curve in the lower back to become exaggerated and press your chin into the air. Working segmentally from the tailbone towards the crown of the head to flex and then to extend. Two more cycles of cat stretch. Making this our last one. And we'll transition down to the mat, lying on our tummy for breaststroke. Now breaststroke arms will be reach forwards, circle to the sides, bend the elbows, reach forwards and circle to the sides. And that's what we're going to be doing as we're lying flat down on our stomach. So make sure you've got plenty of room around you. Have a little pad just to pop your forehead on so you've got some breathing space. Legs are parallel, arms are in W. We engage our core muscles and we float just off the mat. Reach forwards, circle to the sides, and as you do, increase the height of your float. Reach and circle. So we breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in. Continue working your full breaststroke if that works for you. If it doesn't, please work through breaststroke prep stage 1, working on shoulder girdle depression, cervical thoracic extension, release the extension, release the shoulder girdle. Shoulder girdle depression, cervical thoracic extension, releasing the spine, releasing the shoulder girdle. Whichever version of the exercise you're working through, we'll have 4 more repetitions, please. Last time through. We'll recover back in shell, moving into a flexed spine position. Pelvis sat back onto the heels. Chest as low as you can get it towards the thighs, head down and arms extended forwards. Do modify the arm line if you find that this bothers any existing shoulder conditions, tucking your hands down by your hips instead. Two more cycles of breath in and out in the shell position. And again, remember that lateral breath. In through the nose, fill up the rib cage to the backs and the sides, out through the mouth, letting the rib cage recoil. Now we'll be working our chest and our triceps next with push-ups. So for our tricep push-up, I want you to make sure that when you bend your elbows, your arms are really, really close to your body. So that you're bending the elbows, the arms are really, really close to the body as you bend and as you straighten. And that is the movement that we'll be doing, but our hands are going to be on the floor, okay? When we work the chest, we'll be wide and those elbows can go out to the sides, wide away from our body when we are in that position. So please choose either a box position, hands under shoulders, knees underneath hips, or a 3/4 push-up position. We'll play with rhythm. Use that chin retraction that we practiced earlier on to maintain neutral neck. And with our rhythm, we'll bend the elbows for 3, 2, 1, and straighten. 3, 2, 1, straighten. 3, 2, 1, straighten. Last time, 3, 2, 1, and straighten. Give the wrists a shake. So that was our triceps, we'll go wide. And we shall work our chest next with that nice wide arm. So again, you may find that you can actually work this at a slightly harder level. So if you chose the short box position, try the 3/4 push-up position. If you chose 3/4 push-up position for your triceps, you might want to try this in your full press position. Let's play with rhythm again. 3, 2, 1, push up. 3, 2, 1, push up. 3, 2, 1, push up. Last time. 3, 2, 1, and push up. Lovely. Again, give those wrists a shake. Now we'll work swimming preps. We're going to build the intensity. I would like you to work at the level that suits you. Face down again, working on shoulder and hip extension. So pad underneath your forehead. Modify the arm line to hands by hips if it bothers your shoulders. Opposite sides of the body. Raising the leg and the opposite arm to release. And changing sides. We use the breath out as we raise, the breath in as we lower. The important thing is that we maintain the pelvis neutral, so all 3 bones at the front of the pelvis remain in contact with the mat. And it's a straight leg across the back of the knee as we raise. Harder level, you're going to go for double legs, double arms, lifting all 4 limbs at the same time. Ensuring you've got good technique. Last 4 repetitions. Last 2. And final 1. We'll move from our swimming preps onto our clamp, taking a quarter turn and bending your knees. Heels in line with the hips. You can rest down on your arm or you can prop yourself up on your elbow to make it a wee bit more challenging. Maintaining the pelvis neutral. We open and close. Ensuring that we do not allow our pelvis to roll backwards as we work through external hip rotation. Five more repetitions through the range of movement. And 4. Controlling the descent as well as the ascent. Last one through full range. And then we'll work right at the top, opening the clam and holding it still for the count of 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Lengthening out to a straight position for the sideline leg lift series. Stage 1, we point the toe to lift, flex the foot and lower. Point, lift, flex, lower. Point, lift, flex, lower. Point, lift, flex and lower. 2 more repetitions working the outer thigh and also the muscles in the calf and the shin. Side lying circles. We point the toe, lift the legs, circle 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, reverse, circle, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, release, stage 3, staggered lift, top leg, bottom leg and lower, top leg, bottom leg and lower. Top leg, bottom leg, lower, top leg, bottom leg, lower, top leg, bottom leg, lower, top leg, bottom leg, lower. Twice more. Top leg, bottom leg, lower. Last one. Top leg, bottom leg and lower. Both legs together. So we're doubles for 6 and lower. 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. It moves into the obliques. We lift the legs with the head and shoulders. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then we release it down, bend the knees and stretch the thigh on the top leg. Trying to make sure we are bringing that knee back so we feel an effective stretch down the front of the thigh. Holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Moving up onto a long lever in support for a side bend prep. We've rotated the top knee to the ceiling and the top foot's in front of the bottom foot with the wrist on the knee. As we exhale, we lengthen over, inhale, release down. Nice dynamic stretch. If you want to challenge, full side bend, making sure your feet are staying on the floor. Last one. Moving to seated for spine twist. Now ideally we need to be sat in neutral here, so we're bolt upright. If you find that that is difficult to do, please use a block underneath your pelvis, and also any issues with sciatic nerve pain, bend your knees for this one. You turn face on. Okay, so taking the arms out, we'll rotate 3 times in each direction, twisting 3, 2, 1, and centre, 3, 2, 1, and centre, 3, 2, 1, and centre. Leg position is really important with our spine twist, making sure that your feet are staying close together and you don't get one foot lengthening forwards. If you do find that your feet are moving, you're twisting too far, you've taken the twist out of your spine and popped it into your pelvis. Last time. Releasing to centre, we'll stretch the hip rotator. So we're going to bend one leg, cross it over the opposite leg, and we turn towards that bent knee to feel the stretch into the buttock, sitting nice and tall. Holding for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release, take it round the opposite way. Bend and cross, rotate. Lengthen that spine, sitting up tall. Holding 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release it. Prep for the neck pull. We're sat with our knees bent, spine neutral, fingers on the forehead. Now our initial prep is a seated hinge. And this is the easiest level of the exercise. If this suits you, please continue with it. The next stage may not be suitable if you have managed disc issues. At the end of the hinge, it adds a pelvic tilt and a lumbar flexion before stretching over the knee and stacking to neutral. A seated hinge, so this is a loaded flexed position, which can be quite stressful for your disc if it has previously been injured. If it is currently injured, then definitely do not do it. We'll aim for 4 more repetitions at whichever level you are working at. Last 2. Final 1. We'll release and we'll take a short adductor stretch by placing the soles of the feet together, pressing the knees open to the sides. One leg circle will be our next exercise to practice. It mobilises the hip joint, but it will also challenge us to maintain pelvis and spine in neutral when we move our leg. We'll be lying on our back. If you find you need a pad underneath your head, when you lie on your back, please use one. Taking yourself down onto the mat safely. If you are managing disc issues or any back pain, then that will always be going down into a side lying position before rotating over onto your back. Set up so that your pelvis and spine are neutral, your core muscles are softly engaged, collarbones are long, the chest is open, and bring one leg into tabletop. 10 circles out and 10 circles out, in. Now maintaining both legs in the bent knee position is easiest. Working with one straight is harder. Working with both straight is hardest. So choose the position that's relevant for you. Circle for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Reverse the circle. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And release. Change into the opposite side. So again, both knees bent, easiest. One straight, harder. Both straight, hardest. Pick your position. Pelvis neutral, so maintain the same point of contact for 10 circles. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Reverse it. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Ab prep. Pelvis neutral and spine neutral, so you maintain your pelvis neutral and your lumbar spinal curve for your ab prep. Arms in a low V. We rock our head into chin tuck. We float the head, the shoulder blades, the arms just up off the mat. At this point, our pelvis and spine should still be neutral. Make sure you haven't gone to posterior tilt and flat back. We pause for a breath in and breath out. We release down. So we breathe in, rock the head. Breathe out, pick it up. Breathe in, hold. Breath out, release down. Breathe in, rock the head. Breathe out, pick it up. Breathe in, hold. Breathe out, release down. Breathe in, rock the head. Breathe out, pick it up. Breathe in, hold. Breathe out, release down. Let's make it harder. One leg at tabletop. Breathe in, rock the head. Breathe out, pick it up. Breathe in, hold. Breathe out, release down. Change legs. Upper leg, tabletop. Rock the head. Pick it up. Hold. Release it down. Harder still, both legs tabletop. So you can continue alternate knees in tabletop. Breathe in, hold. Breathe out, release down. So you might want to change legs if you're staying with single knee fold position. Rock. Lift. Hold. And lower. Rock. Lift. Hold. And lower. 2 more repetitions. Rock. Lift. Hold. And lower. And then our final one. Rock. Lift, hold, and lower. Stretching out our hip flexor. We're going to lengthen the leg down the mat. Bring the opposite knee towards the chest. Let the pelvis tilt back and the lumbar spine flatten to the mat. Releasing legs and changing over, stretching the hip flexors on the opposite side. Pelvis tipping backwards, lower back flat to the mat. And release it down. Back to our start position, bringing our pelvis to neutral. We'll work on the 100, challenging the ability of our body to maintain the pelvis and spine in neutral against the weight of the leg and the rhythm generated by the movement of the arms. We'll bring it to tabletop, maintaining pelvis and spine neutral. Rock the head into chin tuck, float the head, the shoulder blades, the arms just off the mat. And then we'll load with one leg out nice and straight. 50 beats here. Breath in, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 10, in, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 20, in, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 30, in, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 40, in, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's change legs. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 60, in, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 70, in, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 4, 80, in, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 90, in, 2, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 100. Tuck the knees in, release down. Easing off with a hamstring stretch. Again, our aim here is to keep our pelvis in neutral as we bring that leg into the point where we can feel the stretch into the back of the thigh. If you have had issues with sciatic nerve irritation, just have a wee bit of a bent knee. Holding that stretch for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release and change legs. So we're lengthened. Still in neutral, so the curve underneath our lower back is still there. We haven't gone into flat back. Our pelvis is still touching the mat. It hasn't lifted up. Holding 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Releasing. Shoulder bridge with scissor arms. Now, if you do find that you have the tendency for your knees to separate when you bridge, or you would like to have a little bit of extra inner thigh work, please place a cushion between your knees so you can squeeze into it and get those inner thighs to work hard. We'll lift into bridge, and then holding it there by clenching the buttocks, we'll have a set of 4 arm scissors, reaching 4, change 3, change 2, change 1, releasing the arms back to the mat and articulating our spine down segment by segment until we achieve the neutral, where we lift it up again, clench the buttocks, scissor the arms, reaching for 4, 3, 2, 1. Release the arms, articulating our spine down. I'm just going to move down the mat, and then we'll lift, hold it, scissor. 4, that's better, and 3, no equipment to get in my way, 2, and 1, release the arms, articulate down, lift up, scissor, 4, 3, 2, 1, release the arms, articulate down. We'll go for 2 more cycles, lift, scissor, 4, 3, 2, 1, release the arms, articulate down. Last time, lift and scissor, 4, 3, 2, 1, Release the arms and articulate down. Move to full body stretch position, lengthening the legs down the mat and the arms over the head. Our next exercise will be working on the rectus abdominals. We're going to reach our hands up our thighs towards our knees for our roll-up prep. And we do this from a bent knee position with our hands under our thighs. When we get sticking point, we hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower down gently. And again we reach. Hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, lower down gently. Now if you find you're actually touching the top of your knees like I am, hold. Next time we'll take our feet just a little bit further away, which will have the effect of almost making our femur longer. Releasing down so we sink the feet away. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, releasing down. Now some of you might find that as you go for the reach for your knees, you automatically just come up to seated. If that happens, that is fine. Please roll all the way up and roll all the way down. If it doesn't, do not force it. By trying to force this move, you put a lot of pressure through your discs and increase the risk of injuring them. By practicing Pilates, we are trying to strengthen and preserve our body, not injure it. So work within your capabilities, please. Last one. So you're either holding 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, or you're all the way up and all the way down. Now we'll work the opposite exercises on our side, starting with side bends. Top knee to the ceiling, top foot in front of the bottom foot, reaching and releasing. Taking the lateral stretch over. Option here for the full side bend, squeezing the knees together as you reach it up and over. If you want to challenge the weight that you're lifting and the stability of your shoulder. Last two. And final one. We'll move into our side lying leg lift series next. So if we lengthen down to a straight position, make sure that you don't roll back. Top leg, point, lift, flex, lower. Point, lift, flex, and lower. Point, lift, flex, lower. Point, lift, flex, and lower. For 2 more. Last one. Now stage 2 of the side lying leg lifts is the circles. So we point the toe, we lift, we circle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then we reverse it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Stage 3 is staggered. We lift. Top leg, bottom leg, lower together. 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 2 more. Top leg, bottom leg, lower. Last one. Stage 4 is double leg lift. So keeping the legs squeezing together, we rise and lower. Rise and lower. Rise and lower. Twice more. Stage 5 is the obliques, so we keep our double legs going. We lift the head and shoulders and down. Lift and down. 3 and down. 4 and down. Last 2, 5 and down. Last one, 6 and down. Climb. Bend the knees. Secure the pelvis. open, range for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one full range, and then we'll work at the top, opening the clam, keeping it still for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, releasing the clam and stretching our thigh. We'll strengthen into the back muscles with the dart and the side bend next. Now we work face down for this one. We squeeze our heels and our knees together so our legs are parallel and adducted and our gluteals are engaged. However, we do not want our legs to lift off the floor, so please keep your feet and your legs down on the mat. You're going to raise your upper body and then bend to one side. Release from the side bend and lower to the mat. We'll repeat it, bending to the opposite side. Okay, so we're face down. Glue the legs together, connect the buttocks, retract shoulder girdle, rotate shoulder joint, float up into a dart position so you feel like a nice strong arrow. Slide your hand down the outside of your leg, reaching towards the outside of the knee. Slide back to centre and release down, recovering to the mat. Come up into your dart, going to the opposite side this time. You slide the hand down, return to centre, release to the mat. Moving into dart. Side bend, return and lower. Up to dart. Side bend, return and lower. Up to dart. Side bend, return and lower. Continue working on this. It's important that neck stays neutral. Imagine that you're moving like a windscreen wiper from your navel. One more in each direction. Lift up, bend, return and centre. Last one, up, bend, return and release to centre. Stretching it out with shell, going to the side. So we're sitting back into shell position and then we're walking our arms around to the side so we feel a lateral stretch through the armpit and down the side of the body into our back. Repeating the stretch, going the opposite way with the arms and going in the other direction, walking the hands around, relaxing into it. And releasing. Okay, working on our strength of our shoulders with the knee pull, strength of the core, and then we can develop this one if we wish to really challenge with the knee pull to plank. I'll set up at the most basic level, which is knee pull. So we've got knees underneath hips, hands underneath shoulders, spine in neutral, so you're maintaining your calves as you engage your core muscles, float the knees, holding off the mat, and lowering back down. Remember that your knee float needs to be quite low, so don't lift too high with the knees. The exercise will become ineffective if you lift too high. One more time, lifting and holding. And lowering. Now, if you're happy at that level, please continue at it. If you're willing to make this one tougher, take your hands forwards of your shoulders, float into the knee pull, straighten the legs out so you come forwards into your plank position, Bend the knees to return back into knee pull, and everyone lowers down to the mat. We lift to knee pull. For those of you who are extending forwards to plank, please extend the legs, go forwards to your plank position, bend the knees, bring it back to knee pull, and lower to the mat one more time. Lift to knee pull. Option to extend forwards to plank, bring it back to knee pull, and then we'll all lower to the mat, and we'll just give those wrists a shake out. Working on our abdominal muscles with the single leg stretch next. We'll be lying on our back. Use a head pad if you need to underneath your head. Find neutral in crook lying, engage your core muscles, lengthen those collarbones, and bring your legs to tabletop. Tuck the chin, float the head and shoulders up off the mat, taking both hands to your right leg. Now your outside hand goes towards your ankle, your inside hand comes towards your knee. As you bring it in, change 2, change 3, change 4, change 5, change 6, change 7, and 8. We're going all the way to 20 with this one. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 and 20. Bring both knees in and release it down. Rocking the knees 3 times one way and then 3 times the opposite direction. Now we're going to work some super stretchy exercises for our hips next. So what I'd like you to do is place one foot on the floor, so your foot's quite close to your bottom, and the opposite ankle on the knee. Applying a little bit of pressure on the knee, we're going to press it out, release, out, release. Now thinking about where your pelvis is, as you press this knee out, the temptation will be for your pelvis to go with the knee. So if you find the opposite side of your pelvis, you can secure the bone at the front of the pelvis so that when you are actually pressing on that leg, you are laterally rotating your leg at the hip and you're not just pushing your pelvis over with your leg attached to it, if that makes sense. So we are trying to keep our pelvis completely still and we're trying to move our leg. On this one, we're going to hold it. Now we'll go for a good 30-second hold here as we press. The stretch will be felt in the outside of the hip. If you're managing any issues with knee, you may well feel this on your knee. If that is the case, please go to a point where it is not painful, but you're aware of the stretch. Last 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Same thing opposite way. So find the hip, hand on the hip bone, hand on the knee, heel quite close to the bottom. We're pressing out and back, pressing out and back, pressing out and back, pressing out and back. 6 more. So aiming to keep the pelvis still, laterally rotate that leg at the hip. 4 more, 3 more, 2 more, and on the last one, press and hold 30 seconds. Again, assess how it feels on the knee. If you have any issues with the knee on this side, go to the point where it's not painful, but you're aware of it. Final 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Now the next one for our hip, we are going to cross one leg over the opposite leg and try to tuck your lower leg as close to the lower leg on the opposite side as you can. Moving from your pelvis, we'll roll over and back. Roll over and back. Now just go as far over as you feel comfortable to go. If your shoulder blade comes off on the opposite side, that's fine, it doesn't matter. We'll roll over and back 4 more times with this movement. And then on the last one, we'll roll over and we'll hold it. So you're just going to hang out there for 30 seconds. You'll probably be aware of some stretch in the back, in the hip area, across the hip joint, maybe even into the buttock with this one. Last 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we'll release it. Let's reverse the stretch. Now the interesting thing about these stretches, because we do one side and then we do the opposite side, it will be quite noticeable if you've got a difference from one side to the opposite side. So we're crossed over, we're getting that lower leg as close as we can to the opposite lower leg. We rock and we release. Rock, release. Rock, release. You may also notice that you feel the stretches in completely different areas. Last 2. And then we'll hold it. So we're going to rock over. We're not going to release this one. We're going to stay there. Just try to relax into position. Last 4, 3, 2, 1, and release it back to center. Now we'll move from lying on our back to a seated position. And we'll work butterfly stretches seated. Place the soles of your feet together. And then just gently press down one hip. Change to the opposite hip. Again, it's quite interesting to compare one side to the other. And then we'll just press down both hips. Trying to open the knees as wide as we can and stretch through the inner thigh. Last 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release it. Let's move to a long sitting position. Right up onto your sit bones with your legs nice and straight. Hands on the mat either side of your legs. And just gently creep forwards, but without arching your back, so you don't hunch around the back like this. Aim to keep your back neutral. That's 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release it. We'll do a kneeling hip flexor stretch. If kneeling on your kneecaps bothers you, then you can have your knee just off the floor for this one. So we want to step one leg as far away as we can, and then just lean in and out, in and out. So we should feel the stretch across this hip here. If you need to lengthen your stance, please do, so you get an effective stretch. Last 2. And then on the last one, hold. For 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Okay, same on the other side, range of movement into and out of stretch, and then holding for 30 seconds. So as far forward as you need to with that foot. Move in and out, in and out. Twice more. Last one. And then move into your stretch and hold it, staying there. So it's all down this hip on the back leg. For 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Coming to hands and knees in 4-point kneeling. We're going to tuck our toes, make a nice big arch in our back, lift the knees and push back towards your down dog position. Try to keep the arch in your back. Get your head as close to your arms as you can, keeping the arch. Hold the position. Now try to gently start to lower your heels to the ground. Then we'll release by walking the hands to the feet. And we're rolling up to standing. Rebuilding the spine. Give the shoulders a roll, the hips a shake, fingers and toes a wiggle, and then finish with a nice deep breath in. A stretch to the ceiling. Take a wee bit of spine extension backwards. Release to neutral and release those arms. Lovely work, everyone. I hope you have enjoyed the focus, especially at the end of the session there, on opening and stretching out the hips.